You know what's better than revenge? Watching your family realize they bet on the wrong child's dream, and sending them a kindergarten-level finger painting worth less than the frame it's in. I'm Marcus Chun, 29, and this is the story of how my parents emptied my college fund to support my sister's real art, only to discover that my silly inventions were worth millions. Growing up in our house, there was only one type of creativity that mattered: art. My sister Olivia was the golden child, a true artist who could paint, sculpt, and draw. Every surface in our home was covered with her work. Every conversation centered around her latest artistic achievement. Me. I was the kid taking apart electronics and building robots in the garage. "Marcus, stop wasting time with those toys," my mother would say, barely glancing at my latest invention. "Why can't you be more like your sister? She's creating real art." From an early age, I knew I wanted to be an inventor. While Olivia was winning art competitions, I was teaching myself programming and engineering. I'd spend hours in our garage, converting old appliances into automated systems, developing primitive AI algorithms, and dreaming up solutions to everyday problems. "Art is real success," my father would declare, proudly showing off Olivia's latest painting to his friends. Meanwhile, my robotics competition trophies gathered dust in the basement. I didn't mind too much, until they came for my college fund. It happened during my senior year of high school. Olivia, 2 years older than me, had just graduated from art school and wanted to open her own gallery. The problem? She needed startup capital. "Marcus," my mother said one evening, not even looking up from her dinner, "we're using your college fund for Olivia's gallery. You can go to community college or get student loans. Your sister needs this opportunity now." I stared at them in disbelief. "But that money was for MIT. I've already been accepted." "MIT," my father scoffed. "To study what? More of your silly inventions? Olivia's art will bring prestige to our family. Your little robots are just toys." That night, I made a decision. I'd been working on something in secret. A revolutionary AI-driven home automation system that could learn and adapt to users' habits. I'd already filed a provisional patent application using money I'd earned from fixing computers for neighbors. "Fine," I told them. "Keep the money. I'll figure something out." And I did. I took out student loans, worked multiple jobs, and continued developing my invention between classes at the local state university. It wasn't MIT, but it had a decent engineering program, and more importantly, it was affordable. Olivia's gallery opened with great fanfare. My parents spent a small fortune on the opening night, inviting all their friends to see their daughter's genuine artistic talent. Her abstract paintings filled the walls, each priced in the thousands. "This is real success," my mother beamed, gesturing at the gallery. "Not those computer things you play with." I didn't attend the opening. I was too busy finalizing my patent application and building my prototype. Years of tinkering in the garage had taught me more than they realized. The gallery struggled from the start. Abstract art, it turned out, wasn't in high demand in our mid-sized city. My parents poured more money into it, convinced that success was just around the corner. "Art takes time to be appreciated," they'd say, writing another check to cover Olivia's expenses. Meanwhile, I graduated with my engineering degree and took a job at a tech startup. The salary wasn't great, but it gave me access to resources and connections I needed. More importantly, it gave me time to perfect my invention. The breakthrough came 3 years after graduation. My AI home system, now refined and tested, caught the attention of a major tech company. They were interested in not just buying the patent, but hiring me to lead the development team. The morning the news broke about the patent sale, I was in my small apartment, sipping coffee and watching the business news. The ticker at the bottom of the screen made me smile. Tech giant acquires revolutionary AI patent for $40 million. My phone started ringing immediately. First was Olivia, her voice tight with forced cheerfulness. "Marcus? I just saw the news. I didn't know you were doing so well." Then came my parents. "Son," my father's voice was different now, respectful, almost reverent. "We need to talk about your success. Perhaps we could discuss some investment opportunities." I let it go to voicemail. Instead, I went to my local craft store and bought some finger paints. On a large canvas, I painted exactly the kind of childish artwork that my parents had dismissed my inventions as: stick figures, a house with a smoking chimney, and a bright yellow sun in the corner. The kind of art that wouldn't sell for $5 at a garage sale. I had it professionally framed in an ornate gold frame and sent it to their house with a note. Since you believe in investing in real art, here's your chance. Current market value: $3.99 for the canvas, $150 for the frame. About the same as my silly inventions, right? The phone calls increased. My mother left tearful voicemails about family and forgiveness. My father's messages became increasingly desperate, talking about investment opportunities and family partnerships. Olivia's gallery had closed by then, unable to sustain itself despite my parents' continued investment. She was working as a graphic designer at a local advertising agency. Ironic, considering how they'd dismissed commercial art as selling out when I'd suggested it years ago. I let them stew for a week before finally agreeing to meet at a coffee shop. They arrived early, all three of them, dressed in their best clothes as if for a business meeting. "Marcus," my mother began, reaching for my hand. I kept my hands wrapped around my coffee cup. "Let me guess," I said calmly. "You've realized that maybe those silly inventions weren't so silly after all." My father cleared his throat. "Son, we may have been hasty in our judgment." "Hasty?" I laughed. "You emptied my college fund for Olivia's gallery because art is real success. You dismissed every invention, every achievement, every sign that I was building something valuable. And now that it's worth millions, suddenly you're interested." Olivia at least had the grace to look ashamed. "I'm sorry, Marcus. I should have stood up for you." "Yes, you should have," I agreed. "But you were too busy being the real artist in the family." My mother dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. "We can make it right. Your father and I have some savings. Perhaps we could invest in your next venture." I took a slow sip of my coffee. "Did you like the painting I sent?" They shifted uncomfortably. "That painting cost me less than $200, including the frame. But because you didn't believe in my silly inventions, you missed out on a $40 million opportunity. How's that for artistic value?" "Marcus, please," my father began, but I cut him off. "I'm doing quite well without your investment. The tech company didn't just buy my patent. They've made me head of their AI development division. I have a team of 50 engineers working under me, and we're developing technologies that will change how people live." "But we're family," my mother pleaded. "Family?" I raised an eyebrow. "Family supports each other's dreams, even when they don't understand them. Family doesn't empty one child's college fund for another's gallery. Family doesn't dismiss years of hard work as silly inventions." The silence that followed was heavy with regret. "The painting I sent you?" I continued. "Keep it. Every time you look at it, remember that while you were focused on real art, you missed the real success happening in your garage." I stood up to leave, but Olivia caught my arm. "I've switched to digital art now," she said quietly. "Using some of the technology you helped develop. Turns out those silly inventions are pretty important in modern art too." That made me pause. "Really?" She nodded. "The agency I work for, we use AI in our design process now. Every time I use it, I think about all those robots you built in the garage." I should have seen it then. That conversation with Olivia marked the beginning of an unexpected collaboration. While our parents continued their desperate attempts to get involved in my success, Olivia and I started working together on a project combining AI technology with digital art. "You know," she said one day as we worked, "I always thought art and technology were separate worlds. But you were creating art all along, just with circuits and code instead of paint and canvas." The irony wasn't lost on either of us. Our parents had been so focused on traditional art that they'd missed the artistry and innovation. My next invention was even more successful, an AI system that could create and modify digital art based on human emotional responses. Olivia helped develop the artistic aspects, while I handled the technical side. When that patent sold for $75 million, our parents tried again. "We've learned our lesson," my father insisted during another attempted reconciliation. "We see now that technology is the future." "No," I corrected him. "You see that technology is profitable. There's a difference." I did, however, decide to make one investment in art. I bought Olivia's old gallery space and converted it into an innovation center for young inventors and digital artists. The walls that once held overpriced abstract paintings now display interactive digital art and prototype inventions. The Chun Innovation and Digital Arts Center, Olivia read at the opening ceremony, has a nice ring to it. Our parents weren't invited to the opening, but they saw the coverage in the local news. The center became a hub for young creators, bridging the gap between technology and art that our parents had insisted was uncrossable. The finger painting I'd sent them? They'd had it professionally framed and hung it in their living room, probably hoping visitors would ask about it so they could mention their successful inventor's son. I found out later that they'd even tried to have it appraised, thinking it might be some sort of valuable artistic statement. 5 years after the first patent sale, I'm running one of the most innovative tech companies in the country. We've developed dozens of new technologies, holding patents worth hundreds of millions. Olivia heads our digital arts division, helping other artists embrace technology in their work. Our parents still try to get involved occasionally, sending business proposals and investment opportunities through their lawyers. I have my assistant send them the same response every time: a photograph of that finger painting with a current price estimate from an art appraiser. Value, negligible. Sentimental worth, less. Last month, they made one final attempt at reconciliation. They showed up at my office, unannounced, carrying a large package. "It's all your old inventions," my mother explained tearfully. "Everything we stored in the basement. We thought maybe you'd want them for your innovation center." I opened the box. Inside were all my old robots, my first computer programs, the prototype designs I'd sketched on notebook paper. They'd kept everything, probably hoping it would be valuable someday. "You still don't get it, do you?" I said, closing the box. "These aren't valuable because they might be worth something now. They were valuable then, when they represented a child's dreams and potential. But you were too busy looking for real art to see it." "What can we do?" my father asked. "How can we make this right?" I thought about all the young inventors and artists at my innovation center, pursuing their dreams regardless of whether they fit someone else's definition of success. "Go to the center," I told them. "Sit in on some of the classes. Watch kids combine technology and art in ways you never imagined possible. See what happens when you support creativity in all its forms, not just the ones you understand." They did. I watched on the security cameras as they toured the facility, saw their expressions as they watched young inventors present their projects, heard their gasps as digital art transformed before their eyes. Later that week, they made a substantial anonymous donation to the center's scholarship fund. It wasn't about the money. They knew I didn't need it. It was their way of finally acknowledging that success doesn't always look the way you expect it to. Olivia and I continue to innovate, combining technology and art in ways that neither of us could have achieved alone. Our latest project is an AI system that can transform children's drawings into sophisticated digital art while maintaining the original creativity and emotion. "Remember when they said your inventions were silly?" Olivia asked as we watched the system turn a child's crayon drawing into a stunning digital masterpiece. "Turns out you were just ahead of your time." I smiled, thinking of that finger painting in our parents' living room. Sometimes the silliest inventions change the world. And sometimes the most valuable art isn't hanging on a gallery wall. It's hidden in lines of code and circuits in a garage. The Chun Innovation and Digital Arts Center has become a model for similar facilities across the country. We've helped launch countless careers, supported numerous patents, and shown that creativity knows no boundaries between art and technology. And that finger painting? I heard our parents finally took it down, replacing it with a digital display that showcases student projects from the center. It's not the investment opportunity they wanted, but it's the legacy they helped create, even if they had to learn their lesson the hard way. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't sending a childish painting to prove a point. Sometimes it's building something so successful that the painting becomes a reminder not of what they missed, but of how far we've all come. Even if some of us had to take the long way around through a garage full of silly inventions to get there.